Welcome to the Friendly Geordies podcast. Thank you for joining us again. And for those of you watching this wondering, hey, what is the new schedule like? These pods are releasing, it was different before. It'll be the same. It'll be every Saturday, just like it was before. Only this week we had 2 releases because, you know, the holidays.
Yeah.
Let's start with the first
Let's start
segment.
with this. Welcome back.
No, we're not starting with this. Miss, come on, don't get demonetized immediately.
Wait, you can't do
I mean,
this
you're
on
getting
Twitch?
demonetized.
You can do
Back
that.
in the bag it goes.
Just wait. We'll come to that. I'll give
This
you
guy's
the cue.
ruining our pod. It wasn't my idea.
Let's start with the first segment, Jordan. This is quickly. There's not a lot of news stories happening, so we'll quickly deal with this.
Are we doing those? Okay.
Peter Dutton is baiting Albo on a cultural war Australia Day debate. So what Peter Dutton is saying that he is going to force, if he gets elected, this is his election promise, he is going to force all the councils in Australia to celebrate Australia Day on Australia Day.
That is the funniest.
I love how
Force them.
Force them. How? And then he was asked, "How are you going to
Using the
force
powers
them?"
of the Prime Minister's office.
He said, "I will
You are
force
going to
them."
party and, dare I say, down.
Yeah, he's saying like, "I'll force them
Amazing.
to do citizenship." I don't think he realizes the jinx in it because he doesn't want more migrants, but he's like, well, on Australia Day, we want more migrants. So he's saying, I'm going to force the councils to do citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day. You can't do it one day after. You can't do it one day before. You have to do it on Australia Day.
Australia Day.
And
I love
Albo is, when he's asked about it, he's like, what do you say about this? He's like, I'm not falling for this. I'm just going to say that every year I'm present at the Canberra Australia Day parade or whatever the hell happens over there. And last time I checked, Peter Dutton wasn't there. So who's for Australia Day?
Dang. There you go.
That is a pretty damn good checkmate.
Pretty good checkmate.
Is it a checkmate or is it just like...
He must have...
I think that's a checkmate.
And Peter Dutton responded, he's like, here's the problem with Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is cowardly enough. He's playing both sides here. He's cowardly enough not to come out and force the councils to celebrate.
Both sides elbow strikes again.
He's like, he needs to make his
I've never
opinion
heard
clear.
of just, really overriding something that I'm imagining is even like constitutionally questionable to force people to party. When does that ever happen?
I don't know. That is pretty funny.
Isn't that hilarious?
That is funny.
It's like basically just one down from like evoking martial law and just being like, the Mayor of Fitzroy better have a party hat on, or ASIO's going to have its own little party. It's like, what the hell,
Dude, you know who is not happy about...
Let me see this. That sausage, that snag. Like he's putting onions on. It's like, keep it coming. He's like, there's a lot of onion on this snag. So I'll say when.
Can I have tomato sauce on it? If you voluntarily tied into it, you can choose your sauce. But now, barbecue.
Yeah, exactly. Too bad. You know why? Because you're spicy, little shit.
Barbecue is more Australian themed. There, eat up.
I'm allergic to onions. You just don't know when you quit, do you? You don't know when
So do you think...
Force them to party. Look, dude, he's making it really hard for me to not vote for it. It's such a good, hilarious... It's the most hilarious policy I've ever heard in Australia, easily.
Oh, shit.
Like, it really beats John Howard's, like, grand education vision for his 5th term as Prime Minister.
What was that? Just being
More
like...
flag poles in schools for putting up Australian flags. And it was like, you got anything else going for it? And it's like, no, I'm pretty happy with how much I've privatised the education system.
What about also just being like, it has a doubling effect of young boys, they might climb up the pole and their penis might get erect, and it's the early stages of sexuality and discovery. And that's how I found out. So I might be speaking from
2
experience.
poles were raised that day.
All right, you've had your fun, but what's the...
Dude, it's a very, very good... Thank you for telling me about this. I had no idea.
But like, answer Peter
didn't know.
Dutton's question. Do you think it's important for Albo to make his opinion clear?
On this
Very
insane... Like... Just simultaneously insane and unbelievably frivolous policy.
says you, and Dan Andrews was awfully quiet on this one.
As well. And that's where this is why I can't vote for Dutton, because he really
His name starts with D.
yeah. That's way better.
There's
Never again.
If you haven't been following the Dave Andrews
Refuse
track,
to vote for Peter Dutton as Premier of Victoria.
No, far out. Oh,
You like?
yeah, dude. Oh,
Come on, Ali, are you a fan? Are you a fan of Dutton's policy? That is the first Liberal Party policy that I've heard in a long time that I'm legitimately a fan of.
You know why
just
this
like
has come out,
forcing
though?
people to celebrate.
But you know why this has come out?
Hilarious.
Do you remember that video you made, like, I don't know, 10 years ago about Pakistan, the most gangster country?
Yeah.
Do you remember the premise of that story?
No.
Being forced to party on gunpoint.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's what Peter Dutton's doing.
Yeah, what the hell?
He's acting like a terrorist from Balochistan, forcing people to party because
It's
he wants to
incredible,
keep
isn't
going.
it? That, yeah, I don't know. For whatever reason, I don't know. If there's not enough streamers in a council hall, like, they're going to have to take that to all the way to the High Court from now on. You know? I think that you were putting it in a half-ass measure. Like,
Yeah.
And there's a region where it's called high ceilings for more streamers.
All right, fine. Let's move on.
we'd have to,
Put 'em up.
No, that's it. There's not much to this, dude.
Fuck you.
This is-
No, but did you
No,
hear-
there's much more to unpack.
I saw a poll. Right.
Oh, here we
I
go.
saw a poll. No, I saw
and
a
it
poll.
didn't have an Australian flag.
I saw a poll. Apparently, they did a poll, and they said that 69% of Aussies don't want to change the Australia Day date.
Yeah, that doesn't change. It's about the same.
Right, well, that's not a new thing.
No.
Oh, well, I think
Because
Dutton,
you junkies and stuff try to disproportionately... They do the same thing every time. It's just like a whopping 89% of people that live in Fitzroy want to change the date.
Right.
So because you are in hipster land,
Yeah.
get that kind of... But generally, the Australian
Right.
public
But
doesn't
they've all
move.
backtracked, right? All corporate houses have backtracked on, like, shitting on Australia Day now. The tide's changed.
Well, I don't think that... Honestly, I think that Coles and Woolworths were never shitting on Australia Day. They just made a quite financial decision that, look, dude, it's not like the 4th of July. People never really celebrated this with huge, like, homegrown fireworks and, like,
it wasn't
flag
like that.
capes
No,
and things.
no.
It was never like that
No.
kind of thing. It was just, like, sick, day off.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, it's just kind of waned more. And I would imagine that a lot of that was because of that, like, weird hipster over milieu that kind of hit Australia in
Sure.
2016, 17, just trying to shame people out of celebrating it. But I never really remember Australia Day ever being...
It wasn't-
like this great focal point.
No.
It was like the Queen's birthday or something.
Yeah, I agree with that.
With
I
some
agree with
fireworks.
Yeah,
with
I
some
agree with
fireworks.
that.
But, like, quite half-assed fireworks.
Yeah, it was very much
That's,
just like...
and that's quite the essence of Australia, really.
It was just
Just a pretty half-assed holiday.
It was just have a barbecue. That was really it.
Have a barbecue. Because you've got a long weekend, which is what you do every long weekend.
And nothing.
I think now the official Coles and Woolworths policy, or maybe not the official one, but the actual in effect policy is that bogan suburbs celebrate Australia Day like it's not, like, you know, jumping castle, the whole thing. In inner city suburbs, it's a mourning day.
Morning day.
Yeah.
Which I think
Yeah,
is
I think
like
they're just,
fair,
honestly,
yeah.
they are doing what a corporation should logically do, which is respond to market signals. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Just tailor your product to the market conditions. It's a
they-
sad day. Oh no, it's a happy day. Depends where you're the manager.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas, like, when you're around the Asian suburbs like we are here, it's just like, this is Australia Day in a nutshell. Huh? That's it. There's nothing.
Exactly.
People don't know that it is Australia, let alone Australia Day.
Yeah, happy Hong Kong Day.
Repatriation Day.
Here, celebrate with ham and cheese and a pancake. What the
Yeah.
fuck? Battery
Yeah.
pancakes.
Oh, that?
Remember that? Bzzz. I'd still eat 10.
I know you would. You liked it.
I liked it.
All right, let's switch.
Anyway, sorry. Now, this, just so you know, for the rest of the podcast, I just need to announce something here. You, the audience, will judge who brought the better story this week, because Ali has, in his own words, a history tale that, quote, is going to need some breathing space. So I think we all know what that means. Get ready for a 3.5 hour pod.
No.
And then after that, we will be followed with Mislav telling his own little piece of history,
American
which is that
history.
he went to an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Both culturally
And that'll be the
significant.
pod this week.
Both so
With the added addendum of, do we explain this now or not?
What? Yeah, explain it.
I don't know if we can do this on Twitch. I'm going to have to
What?
come up with euphemisms for it. But
God.
Mislav has been challenged to
Oh,
get
yeah.
progressively, let's call it fun, good times.
Yeah, more fun.
Fun during the podcast with a certain clear liquid that may or may not be water.
Yeah, we're leaning towards water. And,
We're leaning towards water.
and it definitely-
but it comes in a paper bag.
and it definitely cracks.
So you will
open.
never know.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
obviously better to do that in the latter half of the podcast,
Right.
not the first half.
Yeah.
I
an
thought
hour.
that the whole agreement was that he has to do it throughout.
I think it was.
Look at him.
all right.
So reluctant about
Fine.
it. Sorry, guys.
No, I really
Gonna have
don't
to
want to
get
do
tagged.
it, but I'll just crack it.
All right. Okay. Fine. Okay.
The eternal.
So you've
perplexity.
explained why he's doing this, right?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
pimp is like, here, monkey, do this. I'm like, well, I got a car.
So
Yeah,
the-
so apparently he got paid to do the thing that he will be doing now that
Yeah.
shall not be named.
Water.
And drinking heaps of water.
Yeah.
And which sort of is technically correct, right?
What do you
There
mean?
is heaps of water in there.
Not much.
Well, not heaps,
It's
but
fuck
some,
all- it's
I'm
fuck-
sure.
There's shit all water.
Oh, I thought it was all just water and potatoes. I thought that was
Yeah,
all.
it's potatoes. It's not water. It's alcohol.
But where's the what's the liquid? It can't just be pure alcohol.
It's wheat.
Yeah, it's wheat. It's potatoes. Or this is probably
No,
wheat
it's
derived.
most likely wheat.
Where the fuck's it? What does it say? Clear and smooth.
Yeah, but like
Charcoal.
look, the
Ve-
liquid part
It's
has
not-
to be.
Water.
I mean, like with Coke, for instance, Coke is mostly water,
it's,
isn't it?
yeah, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, but
this
it's
is
not,
mostly like ethanol or something.
It does.
Oh my god!
The water
Down the
converts into
hatch.
something.
I
Converts.
wish I never knew that.
Now listen closely. ASMR. I don't want this.
Miss, you always say this about getting any time Mislav is ever quote unquote forced into a social situation, he's always sitting there saying,
You have to have one.
Nah.
You have to-
All right,
Just one, because I love.
then Miss-
I love
then
Jordan's face.
down the hatch.
Around.
I love Jordan's. Wait, before you do it, I love Jordan. This is like Christmas for me. Jordan's face when he drinks strong alcohol. That sort of like, yeah. It like I live for that. I don't know why. I got a fetish for how like your face when you drink heavy. So let me enjoy myself.
All right, put the camera on me, Ali.
Yeah, I was so ready for my segment.
It's coming.
This
Just
is
like 4
wait
seconds.
3 minutes, Ali. Jesus.
I love this reaction.
Oh,
I love the delayed I love the delayed reaction. It was so good. Good job.
Good work.
One more and then
man, you're right. It really does just taste like petrol.
it's
now
petrol.
That it's
It is
petrol. You're drinking
It's
petrol.
horrible.
It's called Hobo's Select.
This is like the cheapest quality water you could find.
Anyway, thanks a lot, buddy. Hope you're happy and hope you pay up.
All right. Now, Ali,
We'll drink
you
through it.
may continue.
Yeah, well, now I'm in my mode. Okay, so I'm gonna set. This is a story of the Frankish
drag queens.
kingdom. So I'm gonna set the scene. Okay, so the
light
Roman
reading.
Empire has taken over. So I'm just gonna say where we're at. Roman Empire has taken over Gaul, and the people of Gaul are
That was Germany,
it's essentially
Nah, France.
France and parts of Germany. The people of Gaul are essentially its military strength, right? And they looked at these Frankish people really differently. Like the first description of them is like that they had these twirly. They didn't have the word for mustache. So they
Okay.
would say that they would wear these hair robes that span on their top lip, and they would comb it. And also they said that they wore really tight underwear, and they
Yeah.
had massive cocks. That was like a thing that Roman people said, like that.
Right.
The Frankish people. Anyway, so they essentially became their muscle, and Frankish barbarians, or like the Gaul barbarians, had really
boys.
accepted Roman culture. So they were simultaneously Frankish and very much Roman, and they looked at Rome as the center of power and everything.
Yeah, that's a style
at the time.
So the Roman Empire collapses, and then all of a sudden, this new area, the Gaul area, finds itself, initially becomes the kingmaker of whoever was in the Roman Empire, like who they decided who the king was, and then later on became kings themselves.
Right.
Because all the power, once the political apparatus just disintegrated, the power went towards the military strength, and the military strength was in Gaul. So this is the sort of setting, right? So when these Frankish kings or these warlords wanted to become kings themselves, they needed a justification. Like, why am I the new king, and why not the king is from Rome? Because that's where the kings are supposed to be from. So they came up with this new ideology or this new setup of where nobility comes from. And it's briefly mentioned the Da Vinci Code. Have you read the Da Vinci Code?
I haven't. I'm not 46, so no. I feel like you have to be 40 to read that shit.
No, you can be younger. I read it when I was like 15.
Did you?
Yeah, but you were permanently a 40-year-old.
Anyway,
Just a permanent middle-aged man, isn't he?
if you haven't read the Da Vinci Code, there's this alternate history.
Listen, next time I'm at Kmart, I'll pick it up.
It's too late.
Yeah, I think it's too late for that.
True.
There's this
You're going to have
alternate.
to go to one of those community libraries.
If you haven't read the Da Vinci Code, there's this alternate history which comes from the idea of these Frankish kings.
Right.
The idea was that by this point, Gaul had become Christian because the Romans had become Christian and they had become Christians.
Yay.
So how do you become like a noble? And the idea was
Christioso.
that Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene, right?
Yes,
This character.
Don't have to tell me that.
Well, this is from the Da Vinci Code because it's like you can't really prove this. And then they had offsprings, right? And these offsprings moved to France, and they were just living there silently until they married in to the Frankish nobility. And the Frankish nobility are essentially these fish people. So they trace their genes from a fish monster. The fish. So essentially, the king of Frankish Empire needs to be half Jesus and half sea monster.
Wait.
And that is the true heir to become the
Are
king.
you serious?
It's if you watch
this to what they-
House of Dragon, it's that kind of, these are the family of dragons. They're not like just normal people. They are mythical creatures. They're part Jesus and part fish monster. And the idea, and they all were like, they had really long hair. That was the idea, that if you're supposed to grow your hair all the way to your knees, and you can only be a true king of the Frank world if you are the Merovingian. So these people were the Merovingian dynasty, right? So they're half Jesus, half sea monster. Both of these are fake because these are essentially these barbarian warlords that are just making this stuff up, really.
Right.
Because Jesus obviously didn't have a family, as in like he didn't. There's no evidence that there was like a offspring of his that lived in France, and obviously sea monsters, as we know now, is not a thing. But
Speak for
Yeah,
yourself.
no, we
speak
don't
for
know
yourself. So, but this community, this sort of king line had established. So then you have the first king, right? Who was King Clovis, which is in the 5th century. So he is the first sort of Frankish king who manages to control all of what was Gaul. So Gaul isn't just France. It's mostly France, but it's part of Germany. It's part of Luxembourg. It's part Belgium. It's a pretty big area. And usually what would happen was that when a king died, he would, however many sons they had, he would divide the empire amongst those sons, and each of those sons will become king of their independent empire.
Gotcha.
And so it just keeps sort of like disintegrating. And this is a pretty
Sure.
bad habit.
Yeah.
Because in our part of the world, the way it goes was, like, for example, the Mughal Empire, all these Central Asian nobility, the king would have, let's say, 4 sons. Then what would happen is all the 4 sons will fight with one another, and whoever is the last surviving
Jesus.
becomes the king.
Right.
But in Gaul, this was an old Roman tradition because Roman Empire was so big that it was really good idea to break it up into your sons' empires because you needed you could control it a lot better. But by the time it came to these Frankish territories, the empire would just keep getting broken into pieces, and then no one would have the sort of balance of power to control the continent. Anyway, so in this case, King Clovis becomes the king, and he takes over all of Gaul.
Did you write this down?
Yeah, I wrote some notes.
Holy
So
shit.
this is just the setup, okay?
Okay.
The setup, and then so a 3rd generation after King Clovis, there comes a King Cloris. right? Now,
King Chlorine.
King Chloris, he marries 4 of his own sisters, right?
Okay.
3 sisters, and then he has 4 kids. Now his 4 kids are, I'm going to read their names.
One that isn't.
I'm going to read their names. The oldest one is Charibert. The second one is Guntram.
Okay.
Such ugly names.
The third one is Sigibert.
Oh my god, it gets worse.
And the last one, the youngest son, is Chilprick. Now, the one thing that I need you to know is
Chilpert.
that the oldest one, Charibert, Guntram, and Sigibert are from the same mother,
Okay.
right? And then Chilprick, who's the youngest son, is from a different mother.
Okay.
So the older 3 share a mom, whereas Chilprick just shares the father and has a
Okay.
different mom. This becomes relevant. So when King Chloris dies, they divide the empire into 4 pieces. Each son gets a territory. So Guntram gets what is today like a Burgundy area. Sigibert gets what was known then as Australasia, which was the best part of the empire. It had most of what is today Germany, along with France. And then Chilprick, who was the youngest one, gets the worst part, right? He has like, it's called, it's part of it is in Austria, but he is, and the youngest son is the most determined. He is the most jealous of his older brothers, and he essentially wants to rule the entire kingdom. Okay, so this is the 4 setup. So now what happens is Chilprick, who's constantly wanting to be the king, is unable to be the king because he has the worst part of the territory.
Yep.
And he can't do anything about it. No other king really gives a shit, and he's just like living his own thing. Now, this is the introduction of the first important character. This is a slave girl called Fredegund. Fredegund's history we don't know because she's a slave girl. We don't know exactly where she comes from.
Too
But
bad
what
for
we
her.
know is that she was really hot. And we subsequently find out that not only is she hot, she was really intelligent and a master of manipulation. Fredegund is a slave girl for Chilprick. So she's just in the palace with the youngest son, Chilprick. And Chilprick is married to a woman who has borne him a couple of sons. So there's no reason for him to leave her or anything. Then what happens is the oldest brother dies. When the oldest brother, who was Childebert, dies, his empire gets divided into these 3 people, the 3 younger sons. So Guntram, Sigibert, and Chilprick. The greatest thing for Chilprick happens. What happens is he gets another part of the Gold Empire, and this part neighbors Spain, right? This becomes really important in a second.
Espanol.
Espanol. So now what happens is now Chilprick has a decent amount of territory. Fredegund is, by this point, is like, really enticing Chilprick. She's a slave girl. She's roaming around. She's flaunting her body. And Chilprick falls for it. Chilprick falls for it. Chilprick is infatuated by her. He's really into her and gives her the title of the chief consort. Chief consort is essentially the chief madam. And has like, a very charged relationship with her. But at the same time, the chief consort position, you can take it away anytime. It's not like the status of a wife or anything. When the guy is, over with them, he can get rid of him. So what happens is now Chilprick has a territory with Spain. And Chilprick is looking for a princess, a full pedigree princess, because he wants to take over all of Gaul. And he knows that that would be the best way to do it. And now that he has territory that borders Spain, all of a sudden, the king of Spain is in agreement to send his daughter, the princess, to marry to Chilprick. But there's already news that Chilprick is in this passionate relationship with a slave girl called Fredegund. And so the Spanish princess says, I will do it, but you have to get rid of Fredegund. By the way, by this point, Fredegund has gotten rid of his first wife, who has been sent to a convent. A convent was like it's essentially a prison.
Yeah.
So his first wife is sent to prison. Fredegund is the chief consort at this point. He wants to get a new Spanish princess, and the Spanish princess says, only if you get rid of Fredegund.
Right.
And Chilprick says, anything for my queen, who is Fredegund. She's a slave girl. You are going to be the queen of Gaul. And so they get married, And when the Spanish princess comes, Chilprick has his entire army to welcome her, and she brings a whole bunch of dowry. And so now she's here, and Chilprick gets married to her. And now he's set. But Fredegund, the slave girl, she's now thrown out. She is no one. So what does she do? She remains calm, and she goes along with it. So she's going along with it, and she's back to a slave girl, but she's still flaunting her to Chilprick every now and then. She makes sure that Chilprick notices her in the palace.
Yeah.
And then Chilprick falls for it again. The Spanish princess finds Chilprick and Fredegund passionately making love. And she is upset. She is throwing stuff. She's saying, like, this was the one thing that we had agreed on. Absolutely not. And there's a whole commotion in the palace. A week later, you find the Spanish princess dead. All of a sudden, she dies in her sleep. It seems like it's strangulation.
Dang.
And all of a sudden, everyone is like, what is happening here?
Yep.
This doesn't seem right. There's something fishy here. And on top of that, 1 week after the death, all of a sudden, Chilprick has now married Fredegund, a former slave girl who has now assumed the role of Queen of Neustria.
Dang.
Scandal everywhere.
Not
The
on
people
my
are
watch.
saying, well, what can you do? Well, it is what it is. Now, Sigebert, who is the other brother, who has the best part of the empire, is married to a woman called Broomhild. Broomhild is also a Spanish princess, and she happens to be the sister of the Spanish princess that was just killed. Right? So Broomhild is married to Chilprick's brother, Sigebert.
Hilda.
And she is, by the way, the character Broomhild comes
His
from a
face.
combination of Broomhild and Fredegund together.
Yep.
There's two people. So anyway, so Broomhild is pissed off because, she goes to Sigebert and says, look what your brother has done. Look what he has killed my sister, who was a legitimate Spanish prince, and has married a slave girl who is wearing my sister's dresses and flaunting herself to be the queen. You have to do something about this. Sigebert says, okay, well, I guess you're right. We have to do something about this. So he contacts his brother Gunberg, the other prince who owns the part of Burgundy, and says, we need to have a trial. It seems like Fredegund and Chilprick have killed the princess, and we need to have a trial to determine whether he actually did it or not. Guntram agrees, and they have a trial. Chilprick doesn't even show up. He doesn't even care to respond, neither does Fredegund. So he's declared guilty in absentia.
Right.
This gives the perfect excuse for Sigebert and Broomhild to go into Neustria and take over. The people will be with them. Because obviously the king has married a slave girl, has killed the legitimate queen, and now is a rogue element. And so Sigebert gathers his army, and they head towards Neustria, and there's a battle. Sigebert wins spectacularly. Immediately after he wins, even the nobility of Neustria now form their allegiance to Sigebert. And Broomhild and Sigebert now essentially are in a position to maybe even take over all of Gaul. They've clearly knocked out Chilprick. Chilprick and Fredegund escape. They go to the peripheries of the empire, and they're essentially in hiding. Sigebert, he examines his newly acquired territory. Everyone says that he is the new all-time warlord of Gaul, and he's going to be the next king. And Sigebert's obviously really happy. He gathers an assembly of all nobles that will come to him and pledge their allegiance. It all seems perfectly fine. Yeah. Until these two children, little kids, they come up and they bend in front of Sigebert and says, we have a message for you. And Sigebert looks at them. They've got no weapons. They've got nothing. They're little children. He bends over, and one of them takes out a dagger, and it brushes Sigebert on the side. It cuts him just a little bit. Nothing that will kill anyone. Crisis averted. 10 minutes later, Sigebert falls to the ground and starts frothing from his mouth.
Dang.
Sigebert dies instantly. All of a sudden, what happens now? Broomhild is in this territory. Sigebert is dead. The same nobles that came to give their allegiance to Sigebert quickly switch over and now are inviting Chilprick to come back.
Right.
So Fredegonde and Chilprick come back. Broomhild, who is now... So the difference between Fredegonde and Broomhild, there's one massive difference. Broomhild has born 2 sons, 2 royal sons that can become the... one son. One royal son that can become the future leader. Fredegonde hasn't done that, anything of that sort. So she truly hasn't demonstrated that she's the queen. She comes back. Fredegonde is transferred to a convent, and the children, she managed to smuggle her son back to Austrasia, which was her part, and he's like this child king who has been hailed as the king of Austrasia, right? So, and the mum's in convent. So now what happens is the mum's obviously Broomhild has to figure out a way to get out of this. So then she comes up with a plan. She proposes marriage to Chilprick's older son. This older son isn't Fredegonde's child. He is the son of his first wife, who was sent to convict by Fredegonde. And so essentially this is incest. So Broomhild says that you and I marry, and then we will take over all of France. Chilprick's first son agrees and says this is a great idea. They get married. A prominent bishop even agrees to it, which was initially a problem. And then all of a sudden the stage is set for a fight. Chilprick's son goes and he loses badly against Chilprick. Chilprick sends him to the convent, shaves off his head, which is the sign of, a prince.
Can't be a king again, yeah.
Can't be a king. Shaves off his head, sends him to a monastery. He goes over there. By this point, Broomhild has come out of her convent, but when she sees this happening, she escapes back to where her son is the king, and she finds refuge over there. Now, his son, who was fighting against him, escapes the convent, fights again, loses again, and this time he is too ashamed of himself. He asks his servant to kill him, and the son is dead. Now, there's Broomhild in the territory of Australasia. You've got Chilprick and his wife, and let's not forget that there's Guntram, the king of Burgundy, who is one of the brothers. So what Broomhild at this point does, he manages to convince Guntram to adopt her son as the new heir of his own Australasia throne, as well as the Burgundy throne. Guntram agrees to it. The reason Guntram agrees to it is because his sons have just died from dysentery. So he is heirless.
Right.
So he decides, okay, this will be my thing for my brother who's dead, and he decides to adopt Broomhild's son. And so now you have essentially a stalemate. You've got Chilprick and Fredegonde on one hand, and you've got Broomhild, her son, who is supposed to be the king of Neustria and Burgundy. Sorry, king of Austrasia and Burgundy. Fredegonde bears sons, 2 sons. They're supposed to be the next heirs for her thing. This was a big, big deal for her.
Now, hang on a second.
Yes, go on.
Intermission. Where's your water?
That water?
That water.
You want some?
No.
It's my
Want
time.
some, don't you?
To Broomhild,
To Broomhild.
to the Empire. Nice spot of brandy. Now.
God, I bet you that would have tasted better than wine back then.
Oh, no, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Wine's ancient.
Yeah, but it sucked.
Did it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
It's not really what you... It really was just crushed grapes.
Well, I like young wine better.
Okay. So now... Okay, so now we're at...
Thank you for the intermission.
Fredegonde has 2 sons now. Broomhild has 1 son. Fredegonde's 2 sons die of dysentery. And she immediately blames it on witchcraft. She says that that her son died because there was black magic on them. So what she does is...
Finally, some truth to the story.
She gets...
And of course, the fish monster.
So what she thinks it's like a noble who has done the witchcraft to kill her son.
Yeah.
So she brutally tortures the noble, executes them, and for good measure, she also hangs all of the midwives that were involved. So just a bunch of midwives that were just...
That is so... It's like, my whole life, I've loved children, always wanted to be a midwife, and the next year I'm ready to retire. It's been a lovely, lovely life. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Then she has another son. right
Okay.
after that.
Okay.
And the son she's raising, and then this son also dies of dysentery.
What is dysentery?
It's diarrhea, but with blood. It's a parasite that gets your intestines, and it was something that they couldn't deal with.
It's going to get me one day.
The second son also dies of dysentery. She again thinks black magic. She finds a few people that she thinks have done the black magic. She tortures them, kills them, blah, blah, blah. And then she burns every possession that she ever had or that her children had. And she just like 3 massive trucks of she just burns it to the ashes, including gold and everything else. And so then after this, she is sonless again, and Chilprick is kind of getting annoyed.
No.
And magically she gets another son.
Oh.
This son she keeps a secret from everyone because she thinks that they're going to be witchcrafted again.
Yeah.
So she keeps the son as a secret. Okay, now Chilprick is on a hunting expedition. He comes back from a hunting expedition and he gets off of his horse.
Yeah.
And a servant comes
Yeah.
to greet him, and the servant stabs Chilprick and kills Chilprick. So all of a sudden, Chilprick is dead. Fredegonde, who is already hated, who is supposed to be this evil woman, she doesn't know what to do. Her territory is, she basically has no protection whatsoever. So she plays a great game. She calls Guntram. And by the way, Broomhild is already gearing up to take over her territory now. She contacts Guntram and she says, look, my son, I have a son, and he is the only thing that I care about now. So let my son be the crown prince of Neustria. Who am I? I will be your servant, Guntram. And I am nothing, just my son is someone that I would like to have, and we have no ambitions of ruling over all of the territories anyways. And Guntram falls for it. So he says, okay, fine. I'll give you protection. Your son will become the king of Neustria, and Broomhild's son will become the king of Australasia as well as Burgundy, and I will give you protection from it. So now Broomhild is pissed off that she can't do anything, but there is a stalemate again. Broomhild becomes the regent queen for her minor son, and Fredegonde becomes the regent queen of her son. And all of this is working fine until Guntram dies. When Guntram dies, his territory is seized by Broomhild's son, and Fredegonde essentially is outnumbered 1-3. Broomhild is gearing up for an attack. She is doomed. She doesn't know what she can do. Her army is completely outmatched, but Fredegonde is extremely intelligent. And what Fredegonde does is she goes through Roman manuals to figure out how do you beat a military that is stronger than you and is way more numerous. And she figures out that the only way, according to Romans, you can do it is through an element of surprise. So she prepares, while Broomhild is preparing her army to take over Neustria, she prepares a surprise preemptive attack. And the way she does it is she gets her cavalry and army to go at night while the horses are perceived to be grazing. What they did at the time was tie bells around horses, and they would graze at night. And this was because if they went astray, they would still keep ringing and people can catch those horses. So she gets all of the horses to put bells on. So it seems like they're just horses from their own military that are coming back at night after grazing. And something that was later appears in Macbeth, but is inspired from this, she asks her her army to disguise as trees. So hold branches on both sides.
So that was true.
And march.
That's amazing. The
and
forest
lo and
shall
behold,
walk.
Lo and behold, she has a spectacular military victory. She beats Broomhild's army, which heavily outnumbers her, and all of a sudden, she is now the regent queen of Neustria. And Broomhild has no option but to head back towards her territory. And now you have the reign of 2 queens.
Yeah.
The regent queen of Neustria for her son and the regent queen of Australasia. By the way, this is pretty remarkable because at this point, both of these queens own a territory which is most of West Europe and a big part of Central Europe. So not until King Charlemagne would anyone be able to control this kind of territory. And Fredegund rules the territory with an iron fist. There's an interesting story where there's 3 families that are constantly fighting one another. They keep going, attacking one another, and there's bloodshed. The nobles ask Fredegund to solve this problem. So what she does is she gets all 3 heads of the family into her castle. She serves them with wine, dinner. She closes all the doors and says, you have to figure it out. After hours and hours of fighting, they actually agree. They are friendly again, and they're all wind up and eating up, and they're saying, thank you, Fredegund, for actually solving this problem. Fredegund then orders her servants, and they come and they behead all 3 of them in front of everyone.
That's kind of like the Game of Thrones.
This is to prove that you got what you asked for. If you keep fighting, you will die. It's kind of like Game of Thrones. She is feared. She is like Queen Cersei.
Red
She
Queen.
is feared. Everyone thinks she's does magic, and somehow this slave girl, she represents what they were all afraid of, which is a slave becoming a queen, and then a woman becoming so powerful. It meant like you were bound for treachery. And so they keep ruling their kingdoms respectively, and until Fredegund dies of natural causes. She's in her bedroom. She dies of natural causes, and her son is now the king, and is still young. Broomhild, on the other hand, her son dies of
What?
dysentery.
Of course.
Is dead. The son had 2 of his minor sons, who are now supposed to be the kings. Broomhild is now the regent queen for essentially her grandsons. These grandsons get older as Chilpric's son gets older. The grandsons fight. Broomhild's 2 grandsons, they fight against each other. The younger one kills the older one, and the younger one then becomes the king, but then also dies of dysentery.
So much dysentery.
So now Broomhild is again a regent queen for her great grandchildren who are minors. By this point, Fredegund's son is now at the age of 25. And keep in mind, Broomhild now is 70 years old. She is the regent queen for her minor grandchildren, and she still has this beef with the other side. The nobles of Australasia at this point go, this is too much. We can't deal with this. The children are too young. So what they do is they go to Fredegund's son and say, we'll bring you Broomhild and her 2 children and her 2 great grandchildren. Deal with them how you are, and you are now the new king. So they take them. They kidnap Broomhild and the 2 great grandsons, and they take them to Chilpric's son and Fredegund's son, who is now the king. And he immediately executes the grandchildren, these minors. And now the idea was, Broomhild thought, okay, I'm 70 years old, my innings is over, I guess I'll be sent to the convent. But Fredegund's son is Fredegund's son, and he still holds resentment. He knows that Broomhild was his mom's arch enemy, a beef that started 50 years ago at this point. So what he does is he ties a 70-year-old woman.
Oh, God.
First he tortures her, then he parades her on a camel, humiliating her. Then he ties all of her limbs to 4 separate horses.
No,
and then they go in different directions. The 70-year-old Broomhild's torso goes in one direction. She's just pulp. And she dies.
Jesus, that's fucked
And
up.
Chilpric and Fredegund's son goes on to become the sole heir of the Frankish Empire. And the line of the Merrick eventually ends with his own children. That's the story.
Oh, that's the story, right?
Come on, it's a good story.
It is.
100 years of dysentery.
100 years of dysentery. I'm sorry.
And
Just,
fish monsters.
And fish. I mean, Game of Thrones ate your heart out. Reality is crazier than fiction. That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
That's how it is.
It's crazy.
Okay, review the story out of 10.
Yeah, dude, it's cool to
It's-
know
it's
that
like-
is like
it's
the
like a
basis
9.
of like a
It's a
lot
9.
of fantasy stories.
Yeah. No, dude. In all
Well, it always
honesty-
is. It's just like all the Middle Ages. There's a reason that all fantasy is always castles with some elves.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Like,
you add some of them in, I don't know, because that adds spice for some reason. And it does. It definitely does. It's cool
Yeah.
thinking back at the Middle Ages because you always do think that, like, even when you were saying that they were from a line of fish monsters, I was sitting there and thinking, like, well, you know, it was a different time.
That
does happen.
You
You
believe
don't know
it.
fish
believe it.
monsters
Well,
exist.
yeah, fair enough.
It makes me think, like, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing that, like, royalty don't run us anymore because they seem pretty psycho. Like, if that was the situation, the sort of politic of the family, imagine, like, the plebs, you know, how they would have lived. It wouldn't have been...
Yeah, I was thinking that the whole time. I was thinking,
It was
man, if that was the
sucked.
royal family dying of dysentery, man, how
I
many of their subjects
know.
died of dysentery?
Exactly.
Like 3/4 of their army?
Easily. And, like, just to be, like, a poor pleb on the streets, it's like life was just not, you know, highly valued, was it?
No, and dysentery was like, dude, plagues were really common at this time. This is the end of the Roman Empire. According to some estimates, it was these plagues and epidemics of dysentery that caused the collapse of the Roman Empire
Right.
too. So this is a time when people were dying, and
All the time.
and the children were most susceptible to dying of dysentery. They were
That's so
you were more
brutal.
likely to die than to
Was it a
survive.
parasite?
What I want to know is what happened to the kids that killed that king?
Kill which king?
Yeah.
The poison dagger.
Oh, they were immediately executed.
Yeah, well,
Jesus.
it serves them right.
Yeah,
Killed straight away, the kids.
immediately beheaded.
I wonder
And
why they did it.
and that's why
well,
Freddie Goon,
yeah.
the estimates
I
are.
know, but like, I wonder why they did it.
Well, the thing was, how could you convince these children and this sophisticated poison? And they were like, only a woman of witchcraft could have done it. Freddie Goon.
It's crazy that she got torn up. I thought you.
No,
Gonna
Freddie Goon died peacefully. She won.
Oh,
The slave girl won, and the princess lost.
Wait, who was the one that was ripped apart though?
Broomhild.
That was the other queen.
That was the other
So many
queen.
characters. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like Game of Thrones, dude. You don't really need to know their names.
Yeah.
I mean, still to the day, I refer to the midget as the midget. I still don't know his name.
No, totally. It just showed that it's like, you know, they had their own neighbors then too, but it was reality and it was bloody. Because sometimes you think that stuff's blown out of proportion, but it's interesting to hear that it's like actually, you know, pretty crazy.
Well, this was the time
Well, I
when
think it's also just the fact that the stakes are very, very high. It's sort of just
Yeah.
like in the Rupert Murdoch family. They would absolutely be calling for assassinations these days if it was like socially acceptable to do so.
Definitely.
It's just as soon as you get to that level
Power.
of power and money.
Yeah. But it's also crazy to think that you can have come from a royal family and like really truly fear death. Like you probably die, you know? Like it's not a safe job. Like did the human psyche change, or was it, because they were affluent as?
Well, honestly, a lot of it also was the fact that, look, Ali seems to be glossing this major fact over.
Where was Dan's comment?
Where was Dan? Where's his lineage?
Maybe it
Was he
Dan's.
influencing Freddie Goon?
I reckon he was.
Probably. Well, yeah, you're probably right, Mislav. And again, Ali omits that for convenient narrative
political
purposes.
reasons.
For political reasons. But yeah, man, it's also because it was the Franks.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, they were particularly crazy?
Well, they were the basic recruitment ground of the Roman army.
Right.
And then when there is no real governing basis running it, everything just reverts back to pretty much Stone Age times. 'Cause the time that he's talking about was kind of just known as the Stone Age with swords. You know, like everything
Right.
just went back a lot. In fact, actually, it's more accurate to say it kind of reverted back from like an Iron Age to like an early Bronze Age. That was
Really?
the massive jump in people's
Well,
living standards.
I played Age of Empires, so I know what you're talking about.
So that's what happened, right? So like it's look, the Franks and Western Europe was its own hand.
By the way,
basket.
just-
Like, dude, they were barely kings; they were just warlords.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know,
Yeah.
like, just as a tidbit, a side note, Franks till today in all of the East, whether it be like Indonesia, Malaysia, India, Pakistan, Frank is still synonymous with white person. When people in Pakistan, if you go to
Yeah.
Pakistan and you see like some guy, he'll point at you and he'll say Firangi,
Really?
which is essentially a pronunciation of Frank.
I wonder why.
Right.
It's because the Franks, this much later in history, around King Charlemagne's period, were the essentially the resistance for the Muslim Berbers.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so
That makes
their
a lot of sense.
interaction with white people was French people, Franks.
Right. But I thought the Gauls were the most, from your show, I thought they were the most terrifying.
This is the same area.
But they're kind of like the descendants of the Gauls.
The Gauls were their
was
forefathers.
kind of like a pre-Roman Empire thing.
Yeah.
And then Franks were sort of the thing that emerged when they were kind of like synthesized into Roman culture.
So was there not a huge difference here?
What do you mean?
Like really, if you look at these like what became France and Germany and England and I don't know, even Scandinavia, are they genetically quite similar? Is that what you were saying? Or?
Well, yes and no. Like they obviously mixed a lot.
Yeah.
But no, they were ethnically
right,
different people.
Okay. Yeah, that's a crazy...
Franks are the French, pretty much.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah, that's where French comes from.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose even in the French Revolution...
What was their currency before the euro? Was it the franc?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was...
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It was
that. Frank's
drachma.
German.
Franc, yeah, franc was their currency.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, I think it was francs.
Yeah, franc.
Oh. What was the German one?
Dude, in fact, like they all...
Oh, dude, what was it? Oh, my God, it had such a good name.
Really?
The Deutschmark.
The Deutschmark.
Yeah, the Deutschmark. I really like Deutschmark. I can't believe they gave that up for the euro.
The Deutschmark.
A lot of them should have given their name up for it. I do like the Norwegian one of Kroon.
The crown.
I think, is a cool name.
You know what Croatians was?
What?
Up until a few years ago?
What?
Kuna.
Yeah, no, that could go. That's a very ugly name.
Hey, what's wrong
It
with
is.
Kuna?
And Frank is pretty ugly as well.
Yeah, Frank's pretty
Lira sounds too underhanded and Venetian for my liking.
That's Turkish.
Lira.
What was Spanish?
Tapas.
The tapas. The old El Paso.
I'm gonna look it up.
El Paso.
Which, of course, was accepted in Mexico.
It's funny because Old El Paso is literally like a derivative of like it's like
peseta.
That sucks.
peseta.
Look, the euro did a lot of currencies a favor.
Peseta. Wow.
What do you reckon was the best currency? Well, I had this discussion once
Dude,
on
the
a stream.
Deutschmark was the
Deutschmark
best.
is
It
king,
was the most
yeah.
valuable one.
Most,
Right.
yeah.
The Deutschmark.
And Crown is just so kingly that they refuse to enter the EU.
Is that right?
There's still a crown now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And then you've always... Look, I personally don't like the fact that we moved to the dollar. I think it's very simply
Pound.
American. But no, it's not even that. Come on. How boss is it to have a currency called sterling?
Oh yeah.
Pound sterling.
Pound sterling. Yeah.
And even the like shitty boot polish, shine your shoes governor nickname for it of just being like two bob and
bob!
2 quid.
2 quid.
Quid and bob.
How good's Bob? Did you know
2
that?
bob. I like how old people still say that. It's so pathetic.
I
See, it's so
know.
lame now that
2
we
bob.
say, here's my 2 cents. How much better
Yeah.
is here's my 2 bob?
I'm gonna start saying that.
Yeah, here's my 2 bob.
I'm using that. It's funny though because
Here's my 2 bob.
the pound sterling for some reason to me feels like a very what's the word like a flimsy, fragile, like safe.
Oh, sure.
currency.
Come on. That sounds like a strong currency to you, doesn't it?
No, it does. It sounds.
Pound sterling
It just-
sounds like
even
it's
when I was-
basically gold.
It's also. It's saying like
that's true.
pound is the currency and sterling is how cool it is.
yeah, dude.
But even though I was there, it's so similar to ours. It just feels more fake. I don't know. I can't describe it.
Because of paper.
Nah, it's just like our money, but just a bit off. And I'm like, this doesn't seem
Fake
real.
dollars.
Wait, is it plastic?
No, it's not. It's not. I'm talking about the gold coins more.
Oh, the gold coins
Yeah,
look
it's
fake.
paper. It's paper. I'm pretty sure. The rest, I think it was paper. I think we're the only. Us and Canada only do plastic, right?
There's like 10 other countries.
I don't know. Malaysia does it when I was there.
Yeah, there's some third world countries that took it up.
Okay. Is it
It's
better?
so stupid that everyone uses paper. Huh?
Why? More destructive?
Dude, if you put $1,000 through the wash,
Yeah, it's gone.
you don't have
It's gone.
$1,000
It's gone. It's crazy.
That's fucked.
That happens in America a lot.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It
It's
is
very
wild.
distressing.
It is,
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so distressing.
All right, well, let's
I
move
just
on.
wouldn't wash
What
my
about your eye on history?
Yeah. Which history lesson is
All
better?
right. Gather round, children.
For the true descendant of the fish people.
I'll tell you, to take you to a world of sleaze, debauchery, pickled meats, much like fish, but of the land fish variety.
Yeah,
A
yes.
place called Surly's.
Sea land cows.
Place called Surly's. A place.
It's called Surly's.
A place where.
I think we know which one's the winner already.
a place.
Come on. Instead of what was it called again? What was the other place called? I forgot.
Australasia?
No, it wasn't Australasia. What was the kingdom called?
Nostra?
Neustra
Yeah.
or Surly's. I know which kingdom I want to be a part of. Can't believe it's
Neustra.
called. Dude, Surly is a name for like an angry, crotchety old man.
You know I'm talking about like a bar, right?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
it's so.
I just thought you were
It's so like it's apt,
Yeah.
but it's such an uninviting sound.
It
It sounds
sucks,
like when
yeah.
you entered, someone was getting thrown out by a bouncer.
Yeah. A place where slack-jawed Australians get ripped off for counterfeit meats. I ventured in with a party of 10 or so. Late, nonetheless. Not my fault.
I'm sure it wasn't.
No, definitely was.
I'm sure you weren't the sole perpetrator of the lateness.
The man, upon my arrival, I was trying to grift my way out of a prior agreement, in which a drunken boast was made, where a selection of meats was preordained to the good innkeepers.
And to quote Ali, this is the backstory.
Yeah. No, it's really not. I'm
Well, this is the main event.
fleshing it out.
This is it.
I don't know what you're trying to
You don't
get
have
from
to
me.
take the same amount of time.
No, he does.
I did cover 100
Identical.
years.
No, yeah, well, yeah.
Anyway, so there was...
Time is in the eye of the beholder.
So there's a...
Well, I suppose this means if it's so short, this is the intermission. Mislav, please, some of your water.
I feel like you're encouraging this.
Well, you had an agreement, and you will see to it. He's doing it. He's doing the Jordan face.
So it's...
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. All right. That's what we all came for. Now that's the highlight of the show.
It gets worse with time. Anyway. An agreement nonetheless, where one pays a certain amount of pounds sterling for a certain amount of meats.
Intermission.
Please. I'll get in the terrarium if I keep doing that.
You'd be happier there. It's warm.
Anyway, a certain prerequisite of meats, of which I try to overcome by suggesting a small meal, which consists of meat pressed between two pieces of bread. It goes by the name of a burger.
I can't follow the story. Can you translate this as he goes?
Okay, go.
You can't?
Yeah, so I know that there's
You
a
went
burger.
to a pub called Surly's,
Okay.
and they were arguing over what they were going to eat.
Oh, okay. And then he chose the burger.
And
That's
Okay.
where we're at now. Now,
Hey, look, Croatian is a hard dialect.
Now, as much as the good party wished I sup upon the suckling meats.
Wait, translate that?
He's eating a burger.
No. As much as the party wished that I partake in a supping upon...
Oh, right. Sorry. They were pissed off that he didn't have the meat selection.
Oh,
you.
okay.
They wished for me to sup, but alas, I, a man of quite... I should... But in my age, I should have died many years ago. I'm lucky to get to this age. Most of my cousins died of dysentery years ago. So I, a man of my old age, can't partake in such extensive selections of meats, right? So I decided to go for the meat, which was invented the week prior, meat between two pieces of bread.
Yes. The new range.
Oh, so you're
Yes.
saying your friends wanted to have steak and you wanted burger?
Yes. Yeah, that's it. But they wanted to have a lot of
yeah.
steaks.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so I ventured in. I was told upon entering, nay, thy must partake upon the selection of meats because it's, quote, part of the deal. Whatever that means. This isn't
part of the
UN.
deal,
This
like-
isn't the UN.
Oh, okay. So you went to a buffet and you didn't want the buffet. You wanted a la carte burger. And they were saying that if you're going to be here, you're having the buffet.
Yeah, you're part of this deal. And I'm like, well, can this high delegation of UN, like the meeting of high minds and a meeting of high states, the highest in the world, can they maybe compromise where one person will spend an equal amount of money but not partake in all you can eat? Nay.
All right. Strongly veto.
So I appear,
A rare consensus.
I'm not drinking. I appear upon the congregation, viewing other congregants who happily could partake in the meat between two bread. Eating meat between two pieces of bread all around me.
It was all the rage.
It was all the rage. Anyway, so I partake, and I'm quite vexed that at my old age, I am part of such a ludicrous disposition to eat as many meats as possible when I didn't want such meats. I don't even necessarily care for such meats. And so I continued to have a high caliber of conversation, from how was thy new year to my new year was fine to do you work in this office job? Yes. Well, that I'm sure
That's very interesting.
I'm sure there's a lot of anecdotes that happen there. It's important to
All
make
right, so the regaling was merry.
it was very
And lively.
The regaling was very merry and lively. Now I'm really thinning this out because this is the high point of this. This is the high point of the story. I partook.
Wait, come on. Intervision. Right. Intervision before we get to the high point.
I've got a headache. I've got such a headache. I haven't eaten enough today. I forgot my meds too. It's been a shambles.
It's so good that he's drinking out of a brown bag.
Yeah, finally. Medicine in the body.
This guy, it's not worth the money he's going to give me. This was like $60. I think he's going to pay me $100. I'm going to make $40.
Yeah, you're going to make
for being
40
paid.
bucks. And drive home dangerously, let's just say, merry.
Great choice of word, if I may prithee thee. Anyway, I cherry-picked the most high quality of the sort of spread, which was the my choice of butt, or they call brisket, and I had that. Anyway, long story short, I had like $10 worth of that, and that was that, and I paid.
A tale that will echo through time. And thus was the foundation of Mislav's new kingdom of normies.
Kingdom of Normia.
The normies. Instead of the Normans, the normies. That was the history of the normies.
But then, funnily enough, I also, it was funny. It was like,
And then the next day, I went to a different establishment.
no, I did.
Oh no, not another all you can eat.
It wasn't all you can eat, but I was partaking in another. I gaily proceeded to another engagement later, which I was regaled with a selection of fine international foods, Old El Paso, fromage from the Franks, and it was quite an engagement, and it was interesting to see how two sides of society live. You know
Why?
There weren't no bloody chorizos and that.
Okay.
So who was in this engagement?
Wait, I got to do a poll. Whose story was better?
Yeah, we got to find out. Honestly,
Can we poll it?
we got to. I think we all know, but yeah, poll it.
Poll it.
Mislav's or Ali's.
Poll it. So that was an
I'd be
engagement.
very surprised if Mislav's doesn't win by a whopping 90%.
So that engagement was an engagement of
Vagabonds,
tramps.
tramps.
Thanks for filling it in. And
Oh, they're all
skip daddies.
they're all saying misloves.
Yeah, of course. Because, dude, you can't argue with the facts. I'm sorry.
One person
Some parts
said
of history
Ali.
are brighter.
One person.
One guy said Ali. That's for
One guy.
And the other guy said, I thought Ali, and I was like, yeah. And it said, Ali do a nang. So I guess he means something else.
Oh, right. Okay. So he's not even voting for
Not
it.
even one. But yeah, I definitely would say that the sort of the sort of business model of all you can eat is a very noble deed for the business owner. However, how much can one man eat,
Well, this is what I always think about the all-you-can-eat. It's such a genius business model because here's what it is. Oh, yeah, it's all the greatest foods that you can have.
Uh-huh.
However, there's only so much ham one man can consume.
And here's the thing, it's
and
not
also,
a lot.
it's all
not a lot.
None of it tastes amazing.
Ali,
it all is
never.
decent.
Yes,
Never.
Ali, you are. How
Decent's
right you
probably
are.
not even right.
How right you are. It's
It's
sort
just
of like
really fatty.
It's just, and it's like,
Hey, look, boys, as riveting as this segment was, we have one more to go,
do it.
and we're running out of time. This one is like more of a social one. So there's a study that was done that found out that apparently after the age of 24, you don't make any friends. Like people come, you can't, like, you don't make friends after 24.
that's not true.
I didn't need a study for that.
Yeah.
Seinfeld has a bit on it.
And also, it ain't true for me.
What do you mean? How? No, but like test of time, dude. What they're saying is friends that you made after 24
Right.
are not going to stay your
Acquaintances.
friends for too long. Whereas people that you made friends at 16
Yeah, I
will
can see that.
maybe still be friends with you when you're 60 years old.
Okay, I guess you're right, actually, with that.
It's just because after 24, like, nothing interesting happens in your life.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why.
just everyone's a lemming.
They're saying that there's like a physiological reason. Like apparently your brains are just straight up more malleable at that age. So you can like really like whatever that person's view is, you can kind of conform to that and become really good friends. But
Yeah, that was
Right.
Seinfeld's point. It was like, it's so easy to make friends as a kid.
Yeah.
This is the criteria for being a friend. Who is in front of my house right
Exactly.
now? And that's my best friend for the rest of my life.
And that is so true.
Yeah.
Hence my experience with the dinner,
Wait.
with the lunch.
so
Damn.
after 24,
No,
I don't have any friends after 24. I know Jordan doesn't have
I
any
certainly
friends.
don't have any friends.
You-
I've got a lot of enemies after 24. Those are kinds of friends.
Exactly. Keep your enemies closer.
Do you think you have made lifelong friends?
I'm thinking about it now, and it was probably all around 24 or 25 that I still have a lot of them that I still am friends with, but I think I was about 25. I think anything past
boy.
that. Yeah, I think anything past that, maybe not. I meet people and I might stay in contact with them. Yeah, I will. But are they friends are they the kind of friends that you're going to be like calling and being like, man, this crazy shit happened, like heavy things that you need to have a really personal conversation about? I don't think that happens because relationships take so long to foster. I was thinking about this today. They take so long. It's like 4 years before you're like, now I like you. It's like it takes a long time. It's annoying and weird, but it does happen.
Yeah, when you're younger, though, that goes down from 4 years to 4 seconds.
Yeah, four
that's
seconds.
true. I think you get older and it just takes longer. I don't know why.
And
Like,
this
the
is-
reason I think that I'm friends with Dome Kang,
Yeah, he was there.
well, yeah, he was there, and I think it was purely because the teacher said, all right, Dome King, show him around the school, because I
Yeah.
came in year 1.
That was it.
And then he was just like, and this is the bubbler. It's very good for spraying girls with.
Exactly.
Sometimes I put a worm down there. And
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, a man of many talents. And then that guy was my friend. And even though that guy has like stolen a lot of money off me and implicated me with various drug deals that were like very scary.
Yeah.
Once faked being sick and then got an ambulance to pick him up.
Oh my
and then
God.
the doctor was like, there's nothing wrong with him. I was like, why'd you do that? And he was just like, I've been watching a lot of House and I wanted to see if I could fake being sick.
This guy is a legendary man, just by definition. That is a legendary man.
I did.
Like,
At
who
that point,
does
that point, there was a little point in my head that ticked by. I was like, why am I friends with this
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah.
But still friends.
Yeah.
Still friends after it.
Yeah.
Are you guys sad that like that whole part of our life is over? We're never gonna make new friends.
A little bit. I put my time in. I know.
You
enough
put your
people.
time in.
I know enough people.
Well, yeah, okay. Mislav just has a vast array of acquaintances and drinking buddies.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I have.
Mislav somehow knows
Barflies.
more people than the population of Australia. I don't know how that
Yeah,
works.
it's incredible that he can walk around.
You could send him
Townsville and just
anywhere,
like,
and he'd be
"Me."
like, anywhere Mislav goes, any social setting, he runs into friends.
It's weird.
It's really weird. It's just like anywhere
It's
that we go in
weird.
Australia, I will meet fans and Mislav will meet friends.
Yeah. I'll just
Anywhere that you go.
Yeah, I'll go
At every airport.
Anywhere, I'm just like, Michi, didn't think I'd see you in Darwin again.
Yeah,
Oh.
a troop of rough strippers will meet us in far north Queensland.
And that's so
one will be a fan and one will know Mislav.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Dude, you never get what you want. It's so sad. You want fans, and you
Yeah.
want friends.
I don't want friends. I don't know where you got that
He
piece
let-
of information
he
from.
let-
I clearly want to make this very, very clear.
Yeah,
Jordan is a very happy, antisocial hermit recluse.
Yeah, he let that
Look,
sail a while
the
ago.
fact that I've got like Mislav as a friend is a miracle. Like I was happy being a hermit then.
Totally.
It just shows like the great powers of Mislav as like being able to hang out with literally anyone on earth. Even someone that like is a straight up misanthropist, you know, like, doesn't like people, and he'll still make friends with them.
It's so true.
It is a remarkable thing
But
that
it is-
you managed to do.
I mean, I don't know. I think people.
Can you make friends after 24?
You can, but then
I want to make new
You,
friends.
you definitely can.
Nah, you're not doing it. It's not happening.
I haven't been able to do it for the last 7 years. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
this isn't happening for you.
I think the thing is,
The only way that you could do it is you can kind of join rock climbing classes, but then you just have rock climbing buddies,
yeah,
like a
you
guy that will not let you fall to your death when you're at the top.
Well,
That's
dude,
it.
I don't know. I don't know how to overcome this problem.
I don't even have harnesses where I climb.
After 30, your hang out with your friends. Someone messages you, "Hey, you want to hang out?" Yeah. When do you want to do it? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
What
happens.
about like next week?
I know.
Yeah, okay.
I'm busy.
Next week comes around. Oh shit, that was today. I got to do something.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a lot more work
Yes.
because we all have shit to do, and it's like, dude, I play in a soccer team now. Yeah, I'm friendly with some of them. Like the one guy, I like the guy a lot. He has a kid, and granted, he does drink a lot in pubs, but
Dude, what's wrong with having a
makes
kid?
time.
no, nothing. But it's like, you know, it's a bit weird to be like, hey man, let's go see a movie. He's like, I have to feed my son. I'm like, well, knock him off. You know, like,
Yeah,
it's a bit weird.
Come
It's-
up with an excuse.
Yeah. Oh, come on, it'll be a fun game. Hello, Joan. must have got cut off. Like, it's just more difficult. You just have to I don't know. I guess you have to prioritize. I think, like, you know, your partner's supposed to become your friend. Ding.
Yeah,
you know?
but I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if I know what you mean, but I don't know if your partner isn't your friend. They're your partner.
they should be your friend.
They should
It's kind of
be.
hard to be friends
But they
with someone
can't-
that's endlessly nagging you to take the trash out.
That's true.
Yeah, and
that's
also-
true. And I got to that with
they
my
just
ex.
they basically become another mum.
Yeah.
That's about it.
But it's not even a mom. You share a different relationship. I never understood like, oh, your partner's supposed to be your best friend. It's like, dude, I love my partner, but like my best friend, I need to talk about Frankish empires with her. Dude,
you're a very
she
unique-
is not doing
You're
that.
a very unique.
Yeah. But it's not just that. It's just like I don't understand like how you can be best friends.
What do you mean?
Like I just think like
I think you can.
friendship and like relationship are two completely different things.
It depends. Like if you're one of those like 70s partners that wear turtlenecks, I bet you those people are truly best friends. Really depends on the nature of the relationship. But I think that generally an Australian relationship with a wife is somebody that you mostly just talk about mortgages with
Yeah.
and chores.
But that would
That's about it.
desexualize your relationship completely.
What?
Just being like that kind
Oh,
best,
don't worry.
best
It'll
friends.
It'll happen. Oh, but the being a best friend thing?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
You don't have sex with your best friend.
But that's because none of our best, like your best friends, have vaginas. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
true.
if either of you had vaginas,
You'd be
I'd fuck
tapping
you
that.
hard.
Yeah, you'd
Like,
be
Are
tapping.
you
just
serious?
Rest assured, that's the only thing that's stopping me.
Wait, are you serious?
I
But
got
you
one.
never I've never seen you do that.
What?
You've never Dome King used to hit on friends a lot. You have never hit on any friend.
Oh yeah, yeah, but that's that's because they were ugly. Like it's not because I wouldn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course. I would definitely. That's a great thought to me.
What?
Friends with benefits is the greatest thought to a man.
It is pretty
there
crazy, yeah, that concept. But like the movie Does It Last?
Is there a movie about it?
Yeah, with
Of course
with
you've
Justin
seen it.
Timberlake.
Yeah. I bet you it's in your top 10.
That and Friends with...
and the rest of the 10 is filled with Jennifer Lopez and Justin Timberlake rom-com.
Yeah, Made in Manhattan.
You know, once,
Made in Manhattan
once,
is number one.
once I did like hook up with a friend. Obviously, I was single, but like we were friends, and like we're hanging out. And then how good's this? She we were like, oh, do you want to watch a movie? And she was like, yeah. And I was like suggesting, whatever. And then she was like, how about this movie? And she suggested Friends with Benefits. And I'm so thick that I was like, nah, that looks crap. How about Richie Rich?
God, really? Wait, how old were you?
I don't know, like
30.
probably. No, not 30. I was probably like 20.
When was it? Was January?
No, it was probably like, I was probably like, 30.
You were 30.
Either 29 or something.
Miss. That's an awkward teenager story. That's not a I was married story.
I wasn't
good.
married.
Let's watch Richie Rich.
Just on that note,
So good.
But yeah,
all
it's
these shots of a young Macaulay Culkin are getting me in the mood.
the part where it's like, so good.
Wow, walk-in McDonald's.
Yes.
Anyway, let's go to my bedroom.
Nah, but yeah, Ali, I think it can't be done. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll join an archery group or something. But
Yeah.
then
Dude, it's like that's what sad people do.
yeah, and it's also like then I'll hang out with like a
No, not necessarily.
bunch of normies who I wouldn't have anything. I don't even like archery. That's the other
Yeah, I
thing.
know. That's the other thing. All these like activities, it's like Jesus.
I mean, my soccer crew is cool, but like I already knew a few of them, and like some of them are like, like arc up and like punch on. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be friends with you, So it's like every group has a selection. It's you're not going to get like gold every time.
Well, yeah, that's
You
all
know.
right. But I guess like the attitude should be you don't need gold to be friends.
All right, well, you can be friends with very staunchy men that try to punch you in the fucking head for taking the ball off them. What the fuck, cuz? Oi, cuz, what the fuck, bro? Like, that's not
It's
ideal.
them.
Huh?
It's them.
What?
It's filled with a bunch of timpy
No,
lads.
there's just like a few of them.
Oh my God. It's so good that you started that with, yeah, they're cool. They're
lot
not
of-
cool.
a lot of them
That's
are
not
cool.
the great way to describe
A
it.
lot of them are.
All right, we're out of time.
I think we need to eat dinner.
Give
You
us
need to
a
eat dinner, but you need to sign up to the Up Late because I have a story for you. Some
Yes.
very
And also-
interesting
Sign up to-
inside
come on.
information.
I have no idea if that history story was good or bad, so tell me in the comments if you want another one or
Yeah,
not.
I liked it.
And you can straight up say absolutely not, and I will not be offended. I just
Whatever you want.
need genuine feedback if that was good.
Let's try to get those patrons to 1,000 people. Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
It's good for you.
Sign up
It's
to
good for
Patreon.
us.
For the up late.
We're close.
All right.
We need to do it.
Love yous all.
Yeah, see you in a second.
See you next week.